Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn Chapter 7 Experiments with Water, Class 5 EVS. What floats, what sinks? Ayesha was waiting for dinner. Today Ammi was making her favorite food, puri and spicy potatoes. Ayesha watched as her mother rolled out the puri and put it in the hot oil. She saw that at first the puri sank to the bottom of the pan. As it puffed up, the puri came up and started floating on the oil. One puri did not puff up and did not float like the others. On seeing this, Ayesha took some dough and rolled it into a ball. She flattened it and put it in the bowl of water. Alas, it sank to the bottom and stayed there. Think what would happen if Ayesha put a puffed puri in a bowl of water. Would it sink or float? The answer is float. You put a steel plate on water. Would it sink or float? What would happen to a spoon? The answer is steel plate will float and steel spoon will sink. Would the cap of a plastic bottle sink or float on water? The cap of the plastic bottle will float on the water. In the evening, Ayesha went for a bath. She had just come out when her mother called, "Ayesha, you have dropped the soap in the water again. Take it out and put it in the soap case." Ayesha was in a hurry and the soap case fell out of her hands. It started floating on water. Ayesha gently put the soap in the soap case. She saw that the case continued to float even with the soap in it. Have you seen that something float on water while others sink? Think how this happens. The poem here raises such questions. A wooden boat in water will float, but a needle will sink. Why does this happen? Let me think. An iron ship will also float, though it's much heavier than my boat. But a needle light as a leaf, thin as a pin, will sink right in. Why does this happen? Let me think. This happens because of the buoyancy force. Buoyancy is the upward force exerted by a liquid to oppose the weight of an immersed object. When the weight of the object is more than the weight of the displaced water, the object will sink. When the weight of the object is less than the weight of the displaced water, then the object will float. When weight of an object is more than the buoyant force, the object will sink. When the buoyant force is more than the weight of an object, the object will float. Floating and sinking of an object also depends on the area of the object. When area of the object is more, buoyant force exerted by the liquid will be more and the object will float. Like a heavy ship floats but a needle sinks, because the area of the needle is small but weight of the needle is more than the buoyant force exerted by the liquid. Here is an activity in which we have to mark the things that float and that sink. Things to be put in water: empty bowl or katori. Float. After putting 6-7 small pebbles one by one. I guessed before I did it sink, but float. Iron nail or pin. Float. I saw when I did it, it sink. Matchstick. Sink. Float. Empty plastic bottle with its lid closed. Sink. Float. Bottle half filled with water. Float. Bottle full of water. Sink. Aluminium foil from medicine packing. Open and spread out, float. Press tightly into a ball, sink. In a cup-like shape, float. Soap cake, sink. Soap cake on a small plastic plate, float. A piece of ice, float. After doing the experiment, fill in the blanks. The iron nail sank, but the katori floated. I think this happened because the nail displaced less water and katori displaced more water. The empty plastic bottle floated on water. The bottle filled with water sank because weight of the filled bottle was more than the displaced water by it. Third one, aluminium foil floated when it was spread out. When pressed tightly into a ball, it sank. This may have happened because spread out foil displaced more water compared to its weight. When Ayesha woke up in the morning, Ammi had fever. Abu made some tea and went to give medicines to Ammi. He told Ayesha, "You boil eggs, also put some salt in the water." Ayesha took water in a pot. By mistake, she put too much salt in the water. She saw the eggs at the bottom of the pot come up a little and start to float in water. Take some water in a glass, put a lemon in it. Now keep putting salt in the water, half a spoon at a time. Were you able to float your lemon in water? After adding salt, the water became thicker and thus the lemon started floating. Here is a story of Dead Sea. The Dead Sea. All oceans and seas have salty water. The saltiest of all is the Dead Sea. How salty? Imagine 300 grams of salt in 1 liter of water. Would you be able to even taste such salty water? It would be very bitter. Interestingly, even if a person does not know how to swim, she would not drown in this sea. She will float in water as if lying down on it. Remember the lemon you floated in salty water. This is the end of part 1, Experiments with Water, chapter 7 of class 5 EVS. If you like this channel, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.